Slow motions in the darkness, shadows on the wall. Light shines on the heaven, light shines on the moon. Treason in the heart and fire. Oh, she's standing by the doorway. The night is getting warm. The wind blows by the window as the music's getting low. If she really doesn't mind.
nella vita non c'è un verso da seguire, perché pure se ti impegni non riesci a capire il come, quando, forse, se. Le 100 più domande che vorrei fare te, che non parli, accendi un'altra sigaretta mentre io placidamente attendo senza fretta e spesso la mano non l'ho presa al tuo universo. Mi sono chiuso a me stesso, confesso, ed è così che ti ho permesso di giocare, velare, lasciandomi aspettare l'occasione o l'illusione che domani sia migliore di questo. Non ho mai scoperto il contesto, il futuro non lo creo con un gesto né con rimorso di quello che ho perso, ma con la speranza, yeah, di un mondo diverso.
Guardiamo avanti e non si sa nemmeno cosa, ma chi di noi è veramente la sua meta? Pensarci adesso che siamo soli, viaggiando nel buio.
Oh, too bad. This song, I liked very much this song, right? Do you know this
But
band?
who's playing?
Do you know the name of this band?
I have no idea.
You have
But
no
they
idea
are
about this
phenomenal.
band? Yeah, this band is called Chain Gang.
Okay.
Yes, from
Chain
a
Gang.
very famous song of Sam Cooke, and this was the band.
No. They are young
promising guys. They start now. These are the first steps.
Yes.
And I strongly believe, and I can predict that, they will boom soon. They will...
We are still waiting since 30 years.
You just still wait more than 20 years for your...
More than 20.
Yes.
These songs were made as a record in the middle of the 90s. Yeah.
But now, my friend, you found a way. Now, hundreds of people are listening to and this is just the beginning. After the end of the season, you will be very famous. You will,
yes. I strongly agree. There is always a second chance. I'm very sorry for this dog, but we will find a way to solve the issue.
No, we love.
Okay, are we ready for the session?
I think so.
I think so, Seppi.
It's Dermoscopy time, everybody. Welcome to the happy hour. Guys, the way I enjoy this guitar is not very different from the way you enjoy your work. It's art. It's love. You never get tired. That's wonderful. That's why you are here on a Sunday evening connecting to this show, because you love what you do. And you know what? This device is made for you. We did it with love. With intelligence. What does it mean, intelligence? It means we detect via software all of these moles on the body. Look at this. They all have a coordination. So if something changes, if something is new, we find out. And that makes your job easier and more precise. Isn't it art? It is. So please keep enjoying the happy hour show. Hello everybody, this is Moha. Welcome to Photo Finder. Click on the link and find out.
Oh, very good.
I love more.
Perfect.
Sebastiano Sebbi Pelerone. I like it so much.
Yes. Guys, how are you?
We're very good.
We are fine.
Are you okay?
Yeah, we are okay.
Do you love me?
We love
We
you.
adore you. But
Thank
I have
you.
two questions, Jeffy. One, why the black background?
Because you see how strange is my face with all this stuff here. I have not a very good light, so I had to change a little bit my background.
His
It's
new
more
stylist,
artistic, right?
told him, I have the explanation, Costa. His new stylist told him that he should appear on screen on a black background because it makes him look,
Correct.
He's a new stylist. So he had a former one as well.
Yeah. I have a personal styler who is advising me how to look like. Bene, ragazzi. So,
A second question.
Yes.
Before we proceed, what are you drinking? Where was that cup?
Unfortunately, this is the bad news for today. I'm drinking green tea.
I'm having prosecco.
No, come on.
Orange background.
Come on.
Yeah.
Take
I know.
my back.
I know. This is only for tonight. Don't worry.
Okay.
This is only for tonight.
Wonderful.
So
we have
are you ready for the...
We have to say hello to so many people from all over the world. I will show you something very nice in a moment from last week's episode. Let's start the flow of the episode. And the first thing we have to do, Sebastiano, is what?
Yes, the question of the week. How many times do you feel uncomfortable with pigmented nail bends? This probably will be the topic for today, right?
It looks like.
I see. So often for 51%. Wow. Sometimes, of course, we like sometimes pretty much. Rarely, by the way, is for 99% of people. So we like to convince this 50% that they have to join the rarely group, right?
But this question was perfect in order to have sometimes voted. So I'm very
Yes.
I'm very disappointed that sometimes lost. But it looks like it's
Yes.
so paper of the week, and today we have it's something unique because we have a spoiler from a paper which is yet not available, not published, but so it's something unique. But before this, I would like to show you this wonderful image. This is a map of the world, as you can see. This is from last week's episode. And here you can see with the bright colors, all the countries all over the world that last week, and I guess tonight it's something similar, people from all these countries were connected at the same time in the Dermoscopy happy hour. And this is something, I mean, wonderful.
Really wonderful, let me tell you.
Wonderful.
Yeah. I mean, almost all over the world. We have to inform a little bit in the Central Africa about happy hour, and also why not?
Asia.
But probably there it's midnight now, so it's not visible. So that's wonderful, and thank you so much for this. And then the paper of the week for today comes, but will be soon available. In which journal? DPC. And Jeppy, tell me, do you like the motto that I thought about today? It's brand new. It's a couple of hours old.
No access restrictions in knowledge. Wow, I like it. Yeah,
you like it?
Yes. I love it.
Let's see if we keep it, because this definitely is the concept behind DPC and IDS in general. So MELANONYCHIA striata, that's a new, let's say, a new approach that was created as a gift to Jeppy, because you know that Jeppy likes very much number 7, 7-point checklist, 7 deadly sins, all these things that you like so much. So we had to create something with the number 7, and we were able to do it. So 7 plus 1.
Plus 1.
This is just to keep number 7. Evaluate MELANONYCHIA striata. And these are the 7 steps that could make our life easier. So we will go one by one quickly, of course. So hemorrhage first, and let's start with this first step. So it's clear that the most frequent cause of nail pigmentation is blood, hemorrhage, trauma. So this means that in the majority of the cases that we see a pigmentation on the nail, everything will end in step 1, because when we look clinically and dermatoscopically, we will be able to recognize that it's just an hemorrhage, and then the story will finish. So to recognize an hemorrhage, usually it's not a problem because of the red color, because of the sharp demarcation, because it does not arise from the proximal nail fold sometimes, and also because of these characteristic peripheral lines, filamentous lines that are typical of an hemorrhage. So example, very easy to recognize an hemorrhage. In this example, it's so easy. Also in the next one, the lesion does not originate from the proximal nail fold, so it's for sure a blood spot and nothing more. But even here, which is a little bit more tricky, you can see this linear aspect of the periphery, which helps a lot to understand that this is simply blood. So that's the step number 1. Step number 2, age matters a lot, especially nail pigmentation. And in particular, in childhood, practically, we almost never worry about nail pigmentation. Everything, every pigmented nail bud in children will be benign. not only those looking banal, looking symmetric like this one, but also the ones that look more peculiar, and also the ones that look terrible. All these lesions in children that look asymmetric, even with pigmentation of the periangular skin, they are congenital nevi, and today we know pretty well that congenital nevi of the nail plate are ugly, of the nail matrix are ugly. So in children, everything is benign, so it's very easy. And if we want to set an age threshold for pigmented nail bands, we could say that childhood goes up to 30. Do you like it? Come on. Do you like my classification of ages?
Well, I'm still young, so yeah, I like it.
Yes.
Of course.
90 plus children again, of course.
Children again, 90 plus children again. Absolutely. So according to the data we have in the literature, and I skip it quickly, before the age of 30 is extremely rare to have a nail melanoma. So in all the published series from big centers and big databases, the younger age of nail melanoma was 30 years old. So until this age, we can be quite relaxed. Step number 3, obvious. If multiple nails are involved, then we can exclude melanoma and other tumors. That's common sense. We don't need to spend time here. Step number 4, dermoscopy of the free edge is important because in a case like this one, you see a pigmented nail band, but if you look at the free edge, you can see that there is a keratin mass underneath the nail plate and also thin nail plate. So these are clues for onychopapilloma, which rarely might be pigmented, like in this case. Or the next example is a pigmented squamous cell carcinoma that, again, dermoscopy of the free edge of the nail reveals the keratotic mass, which is underneath the nail plate. So free edge also matters mainly in order to exclude non-melanocytic tumors that might be rarely pigmented. Number 5 is the assessment of the color. If the color is brown, then it is suggestive of a melanocytic lesion. If the color is gray, it's usually suggestive of reactive pigmentation. So when we see this coloration of the nail plate, then usually it does not correspond to a melanocytic tumor, but to an activation of melanocytes for some reason. So that's also very important. Step number 6, size matters. And here we have a nice study of the IDS published a couple of years ago, in which we found precisely that in adults, when the nail band covers more than half, more than 2/3 of the nail plate, then this is very suspicious, even if the band is not terribly asymmetric. So a large band in adults mean more than 30, is suspicious already because of the size, okay? And finally, step number 7, of course, if the band is small, then we have to assess if it's regular or irregular according to the homogeneity of the colors inside the band. And of course, we can show many examples, a regular band on the left-hand side versus an irregular band on the right-hand side. Last thing, but quite important, this is the +1, is what I like to call follow back. This is unique for this anatomic location. Dermoscopy gives us the opportunity to monitor the lesion, but not in the future, in the past. And I will show you in a moment what I mean. Here you can see a pigmented nail band. Clinically and dermatoscopically, it's even more clear that this band is wider in the proximal part and thinner in the distal part. Practically, this means that the lesion, which is of course located on the nail matrix, today has a diameter approximately of this size. But the same lesion 9 months ago, when this part of the band was produced, had a diameter of this size. So practically, we have information on the diameter of the lesion going back to the past. And this is follow back. And this is very, very important because only with this information, we know that this lesion, for instance, is growing quite quickly. Of course, if it matters or not is a discussion that we should do, taking into account the age of the patient and so on. But this information is really relevant and it's unique for this anatomic location. That's it.
Wonderful.
These
wonderful.
are the 7+1 steps.
And maybe just immediately before taking the questions, I could share with you what I prepared, which is very short, which is of course still in line with what you said. But you know, I'm a very simple guy. 7 became too much to remember, Emilio.
You don't like anymore.
even though I like the number 7, but you know, it's too much. So I will speak about the 4 scenarios of pigmented nail bends. So I'm not going to cover hemorrhages, which are by definition not nail bends. They are not usually bends. They are just pigmentations, but they are not bends. So there are just 4 scenarios that we have to take into consideration clinically, okay? So the first scenario is this. What do you think, Nisa?
How old is the patient, Jeppe?
Exactly. So if I tell you that this is a 45-year-old man, what are you going to do?
I'm going to make a biopsy.
Okay, but the truth is that this is a 9-year-old girl. So then
just follow up.
Exactly. So, and these are comprising the 2 scenarios, meaning a large nail bend. Okay, when we have a large nail bend, if it's a child, we can easily make a follow-up because, as Emilio told you, the probability that this is a melanoma is extremely, extremely low. But if this is an adult and the band is so wide, so large, then we have to make a biopsy. Scenario number 2. Costas, what do you think about this lesion?
It looks ugly. However, it's grayish, right?
Yes.
So I would ask for history, see the rest of the nails. Also
exactly. Bravo, Costas. You know, so by the way, this is scenario number 3. Bravo. And this is the situation of this guy. Yes. So again, yeah, this is fitting exactly what Emilio told you. Gray color means activation, not proliferation of melanocytes. So of course you have to be careful and you have to look at the other nails. And if you find other nails involved, then it's pretty much probable that this is just a reactive pigmentation, like a trauma, like a microtraumatic situation of the nails due to the problem here. You know, we have fingers. Yes, yeah. Aluce valgo, exactly. Scenario.
Valgo. Nice.
Yes, scenario number 4 for Emilio.
Yes, my friend. So this is an ugly band. This is a very irregular band.
Okay, it's irregular.
Yes.
Okay. So what should we do?
We should either 40 years old, so biopsy, excise it, practically it's small, or we can also select to follow up because, as we said many times, nail matrix melanoma is a lentiginous melanoma with a very slow growth, so nothing bad is going to happen if we monitor for a few months.
Exactly. And not only nothing bad is going to happen if we monitor this lesion for a few months, but it's also sometimes extremely useful because you add the information of the evolution. And not only, if you make a biopsy in a melanoma, which is too early, then also for the pathologist could be very difficult to make a precise diagnosis. So we selected to follow up this lesion, and this was what's going on 3 years later. What should we do
Still
now?
in situ.
Yeah.
Still.
Okay, so it's 3 years later. What should we do? Should we continue follow-up or excise?
Excise.
Excise? Emilio, you also confirm?
Well, yes, I would say.
Excise
Was the
for me as
lesion-
well.
Of course, the lesion is changing. That's definitely true. In 3 years, by the way, I would have expected a larger growth if this is a melanoma, but anyhow, it's growing a little bit. So we decided to remove this lesion, and based on what, well, we did just a little bit of follow-up more, but finally, we removed this lesion, and this was diagnosed as a junctional nevus. So putting everything together, now we have a lesion which is in a growing just a little bit in 4 years. So this diagnosis finally given by the pathologist is credible in some way. So it's credible that this is just a nevus and not a melanoma. I'm not saying, this is an example to tell you that follow-up for small bands is extremely nice to take into consideration, although the band was definitely irregular. Okay, so these are the 4 scenarios: a large band, consider the age; a small band, consider follow-up; and the gray band, look for additional information to make clear that this is just an activation. Do we have questions, Mike?
Oh, of course we do. Of course we do. So let's start. Do SCC always occur at the nail edge part of the nail? No. Squamous cell carcinoma might develop on the nail matrix or might develop also on the nail bed. The example I showed you was the squamous cell carcinoma of the nail matrix, and that's why there was a melanonychia striata. There was a pigmented nail band. The clue here is that by looking at the free edge, you can see the keratin produced by the tumor, which makes you understand that this is not a melanocytic tumor, because a melanoma or a nevus would not produce this amount of keratin. But squamous cell carcinoma might also develop on the nail bed. Great lecture. Which follow-up would you suggest? 3 to 6 months? Yes, 6 months is a very reasonable.
Yes, and the point is, if you just wait 3 months, nothing special can be seen, because we are speaking about nails, which are by definition growing very slowly. So we need at least 6 months.
And because even if it is a melanoma, it's a so slow growing melanoma that possibly in 3 months there will be minimal changes or even no changes at all. How long and how often do you follow up children with subbangual nevus? Well, theoretically, we don't need to do it. We do it, of course. We do it because they are, very peculiar lesions. They we like to take these photographs and monitor what's going to happen. Many of these nevi will involute, will disappear eventually. Some others will remain. So, I cannot suggest a specific time frame for children. I don't know, guys, if you would like to suggest something, whatever. Whatever.
It's
1 year is more than reasonable.
Yeah. In your experience, what is the average breast low thickness of a nail unit melanoma presenting as a pigmented nail band? Can we consider melanoma presenting as a longitudinal melanonychia the nail counterpart of acral lentiginous melanoma? Exactly. Yes, it is. But no, it is definitely, it belongs to the family of acral lentiginous melanoma, and usually these melanomas that manifest as small pigmented nail bands, like the ones we showed in the previous example, are very, very thin and very superficial, inside to almost always melanomas. Should it be greater than or equal to 3 millimeters or greater than equal to 1/3 of the nail plate? As you said, 2/3. If I remember, Jeppe, in this publication, we found that 2/3 is a significant threshold.
Yes. Well, let's say 50% in my view. So when we see that the nail band is less than 1/3 of the nail plate, it's okay. I consider it small. When it's reaching 50%, is already, something definitely not good. But if it's 2/3, definitely we make a biopsy, no question about it.
When did you consider a lot? Okay, this was covered. Why rename longitudinal melanonychia striata? Okay. No problem with the terms. You know, we are very democratic with the terms. Use whatever you like. No problem at all.
We can call it Pasquale, Ciro.
Yes, anything. Nail Bowen, what is the dermoscopic pattern?
Very difficult diagnosis. I had a couple of recent cases, and we always thought it could be melanoma. So it's extremely
well in pigmented Bowen, because usually Bowen is non-pigmented. The rule is that it's non-pigmented, and when it's not pigmented, it does not produce a melanonychia, but the erythronychia or leukonychia. So white to yellowish band. We see this keratin especially on the free edge, and of course, when it evolves, it might also destroy the nail plate itself, which is a very important clue for malignancy when we have destroyed nail plate. And also, the edges of the nail band are not sharply demarcated as they are in onychopapilloma. These are the clues for a summary of the clues. Do you biopsy a pigmented nail band in children? No, if it doesn't involute. No. Even if it grows.
Yes. The involution, by the way, could take even a lot. You know.
Yes.
I saw a patient who I saw the first time, this little child who is the son of a dermatologist, a friend of mine, when he was 3 years old. And I saw him recently now, and he is now 18, and the nail band is still there. So it's taking quite a long time to regress. Yeah.
Absolutely. I still have problems to establish when the band is regular or irregular. You're right. Of course, it's not an easy thing. But the good thing, the good news, let's say, is that, as we already mentioned twice today, in case you are in doubt, then follow-up is a very reasonable option on this specific anatomic location. So there is no stress. When you're not sure if the band is regular or not, we make a nice photograph and then we monitor with no problems. As subbanqual melanoma is more common, in skin, that's a very important point. So the point is that in skin of color, it could be that we have pigmentation in many nails very often, ethnic type pigmentation. And then if a melanoma develops, it will develop on the back in a patient with multiple nails involved. What does it mean? It means that the multiple nails sign, which is considered to be a sign of benignity, of course, here we need an asterisk, which is that when you have multiple nails pigmented, it does not exclude the possibility of a melanoma that might eventually develop in one of these nails. And this basically is included in the paper, but I didn't have the time now to go in the details. So, but that's a very good point, especially in skin of color, of course. Does the intensity of the black color impact your decision to biopsy, JP?
No, let's say, of course, we are scared about black color, but as we know very well also on the skin, I mean, melanoma can be pink, can be brown, can be black, so it doesn't count so much.
What kind of... Go.
I was saying that it's the heterogeneity of the colors. If you see black, brown, different shades, that's what will warrant the biopsy. Yeah. If you see black only, most likely it's okay to follow up at least.
Yeah.
What kind of biopsy should we do? Punch or shave?
This is extremely important, guys. Extremely important. You cannot make a punch on the skin here. You don't find the lesion. You have to do this partial onychectomy, meaning that you have to remove entirely the matrix, the nail bed, and the nail plate involved. So it's a special kind of surgery that should be performed by trained dermatologists.
The important thing is to highlight that the biopsy has to be done from the nail matrix and not from the nail plate or the nail bed. So the nail plate has to be removed so that the matrix is visible, and then the biopsy should be taken from the matrix. Now, if there are some techniques with shave, some techniques with punch or with complete excision, but it should be on the matrix. That's important to highlight. What's your preferred contact medium for nail dermoscopy? Alcohol, gel, oil?
Gel.
Gel. Wonderful. Is there a subbangual melanoma? Nice question by Verse. Is there a subbangual melanoma rising on a previous nevus?
Never, at least in my experience, but also in the literature. Acral melanoma in general is the melanoma which is less associated with a nevus, a previous nevus.
What about the Hutchinson sign? Can it be present in both benign and malignant lesions?
Congenital nevi, they can have it, and melanoma. These are the two.
Exactly. So in children, we never worry, even if we see a Hutchinson sign. But in adults, a Hutchinson sign is worrisome. Do you know published data if pediatric pigmented lesions develop into melanoma later in life? No.
No.
Not that we don't know. There are no published data on this. So, yeah. Do you know proportion of nevi in children? How many nevi disappear in adulthood? Which
there is no precise number in my view. We can say that a good proportion of congenital nevi of the nail matrix will disappear, but we cannot say how many. Don't you think?
In your experience, which is the theoretical risk of evolution of subbangual nevi into melanoma? We said 0. The theoretical risk is 0. Of course, 0 does not exist in life, but it's so close to 0 that,
Is 0
wow.
0 something?
I think we got everything, all the questions.
Yeah, very good. Bravo, Emilio.
Very
Bravo.
Good. He was reading like a rapid fire.
Yeah, because I saw that there were many. So it's nice when we try to give even a short answer to all of them. Konstantinos, do you have to show additional cases or not? Or no?
So I don't have cases. I have a very interesting publication that came out recently. It's not necessarily on melanonychia, but it's I found this paper very interesting. So going back a little bit, 2013, give me just 1 second. 2013, this beautiful paper came out by Elena Markova on JID, where they compared the narrowband UVB light to UV nail lamp device, and they actually found that although some sources of UVA and UVB contribute to the development of keratinocytic carcinomas, so what I'm talking about is the shellac, or semi-permanent manicure, right? When you go and you put your hands under the lamp in order to stabilize the polish. So what they found is that although some sources of UVA and UVB contribute to the development of keratinocytic carcinomas, UV nail lamps do not appear to significantly increase the lifetime risk of keratinocytic carcinomas. And dermatologists may reassure patients regarding the safety of these devices.
So we can say to our female patients they can continue doing this beautiful nail.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Now that was 2013.
Okay.
The same year, another paper came out on JAD, where they found that the increased depth of penetration of UVA wavelengths produced by the UV lamps could have the potential to increase both cancer risk and photoaging, and we need future studies. And those future studies came out actually last week. This was a really interesting paper published in Nature Communications. So it's basic research paper. I'm not going to go into detail into it, So the title is DNA damage and somatic mutations in mammalian cells after irradiation with an oil polish dryer. And here is a very beautiful figure showing the acute response of cell cultures after acute and chronic UV radiation by nail polish dryer. And the authors conclude that this study demonstrates, so analysis of somatic mutations reveals a dose-dependent increase of CNN to CG280 substitutions in irradiated samples with mutagenic patterns similar to mutational signatures previously attributed to reactive oxygen species. And in summary, this study demonstrates that radiation emitted by UV polish dryers can both damage DNA and permanently engrave mutations on the genomes of primary mouse embryonic fibroblasts, plus human foreskin and human epidermal keratinocytes.
Wow.
So
very interesting.
It was super
bad news.
Hey, Jeppy, bad news, my friend.
Bad news. No,
the question
but anyway,
is,
these are all, of course, important questions, because nowadays many young girls are using this kind of new techniques to make nails colored. So we have to pay attention to this.
Yeah.
we do have to pay attention. So from your point of view, could that also include melanoma development or only keratinocyte carcinoma?
Well, for nail melanoma in general, we know that that UV has a minimal role in the development of nail melanoma. It has a very peculiar profile. Also, genetically, there are no BRAF mutations, no NRAS mutations.
Yes.
It's c-KIT pathway.
c-KIT and NRAS and BRAF only 3%.
3%, yeah. So it's c-KIT mainly. So probably we cannot associate it with melanoma, but non-melanoma skin cancer is enough in my view.
Yes.
Yeah, really.
And by the way, squamous cell carcinoma of the nail is a bad guy. Is a bad guy.
Exactly.
It's a bad guy. Aggressive.
Exactly. Are there established risk factors for nail melanoma? No. UV is not included. So
at least
no.
for the moment. At least for the moment.
At least for the moment. Exactly. Yeah. No, but there is also a peculiar genetic profile which probably indicates that it's not UV. That plays a major role, at least.
Great.
And last question: in children with multiple nails affected by Melanonychia striata secondary to trauma, do you expect spontaneous regression of the bands, or do they stay forever?
Well, when the trauma is disappearing, also the band is supposed to be disappearing, in my view.
Wonderful. Excellent.
Excellent. Emilio, do you have to tell us something about...
Wait a moment. Sebastiano is doing something. I don't know what. No, stop. Yes, I have to tell you something for 30 seconds. So, sponsor time. I want to show you this very nice, I would say, armamentarium. Look at it.
Yes.
I mean, and basically, I can also show you so that you can be jealous.
I see. You have the two left-sided ends.
Yeah. Starting.
Yes. When do you go to the right side?
Slowly, but no. I mean, this is wonderful equipments. Starting from the basic handheld things, the brand new Luminis with an exceptional light mode in both polarized and non-polarized light, and of course going to the digital machine and to the so sexy 3D Vectra with the numerous probabilities to document and follow up patients, especially with high risk. But not only, in my view, imaging is changing in dermatology, and the total body photography will be used so much more in the future, not only in the context of patients with multiple nevi and high risk for melanoma.
So because we have the 3D in my hospital, so we initiated a protocol for following cutaneous lymphoma, CTCL, in response to treatment, plus psoriasis. And
absolutely,
it's incredible. It's so demonstrating, you know, the change, how soon everything happens.
No, that's for sure. I mean, we do it since years. For example, for psoriasis patients, before starting treatments with whatever you want to start, a total body documentation, it's so much stronger that as compared to a number written on a paper under the name PASI. Much stronger, both for the evaluator, for the doctor, but also for the patient that sees the objective improvement. So fully agree that it's going to revolutionize dermatology for sure, this total body imaging in general. So
nice.
That was
Sebi. Sebi. Oh, Nisa, what's going on?
I'm coming. Here are the cases.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is the Facebook group still very active?
Always.
Nisa, you muted yourself. Nisa. We want to hear your voice and you muted yourself.
Is it okay?
Yes.
Yeah. Facebook group is very active and people are very interactive and they're learning together. And here is one of my case that I published 3 or 4 years ago. And this is the patient. She is 16-year-old. And this pigmented band on her left forefinger developed 5 months before admission. So here is the dermoscopy. And what will you do? Follow up or make a biopsy? She's 16-year-old and we have triangular longitudinal melanonychia here and here pigmentation. What will you do with this patient?
Follow up.
You know, you have always surprises for us, so we are.
No, but in this case, we don't accept any surprise. I mean,
okay.
If you conclude that this is a melanoma, we don't accept it.
The pathologist has to be reevaluated.
And I would like to follow up this patient, and here is 3 months later. The baseline, macro photo, and 3 months.
3 months.
And baseline, and 3 months later. And now,
Okay.
what do you think about?
3 months.
In 3 months, we observe this change.
Very short.
We have nail destruction here,
Exactly.
and we have lots of brown dots. This shows like peripheral rim of clots growing sign. And here, the triangular shape disappear and it's growing. So what will you do? She's 16-year-old, left for hand, finger. There's a growth change, right?
Yes,
definitely.
And the time is 3 months. So I ask this, and people most of them consider this is a nevus, and 20% said that this is a melanoma. And here is intraoperative dermatoscopy. And you see the vascularization here.
Yeah.
Yes.
And do you observe this sort of vascularization in nail matrix biopsy, Jeppy, Konstantinos, Emilios? Could this be a sign for a melanoma? Because we know that in melanoma, some growth factors are releasing, and this might affect this vascularization could be a sign of malignity.
That's
Do you have
a
any
very
experience
good
with that?
question. I don't perform nail biopsies myself, so I wouldn't know interpretably. I don't know, Debbie, do you perform biopsies yourself?
No, not really, but definitely this kind of vascularization, it means that it could be also something different than melanocytic lesion. Anyhow, we are very curious now about the histology.
Yeah, and here is the biopsy, and it was a melanoma in situ, and you see the melanocytes, they are arising to the stratum corneum, and the vessels are here. There are lots of congested and dilated blood vessels in the papillary dermis that we saw on nail matrix biopsy. And here is the melanae, and you can see the melanocytes are in the stratum corneum also. And we published this case, and she was 16 years old and a very early melanoma in situ. And maybe any change after puberty can be a sign for melanoma. So follow-up is very important in nail matrix melanocytic lesions, even the patient is very young. So we should consider every change very carefully in these patients' population.
Lisa, which was the skin type of the patient?
Not very dark, maybe 3, Emilios. And this is also a very interesting case. 61 years old, female, right hand, 4th finger, and there's a yellow coloration here, and there are some pigmented bands. And she said that these bands occurred 3 or 4 months ago. What do you think it is? Is it suspicious for melanoma, or this is fungal infection and fungal melanonychia? What do you think about it? And what would you do?
Well, definitely there is a band which is starting from the nail, from the proximal fold. So I would be very cautious here.
Yeah. And when I asked this case to the members, some said that we had to do a biopsy, something, it's a fungal melanonychia. And here are the answers. And here is nail matrix biopsy. Do you think that is it melanocytic or not now? We have some pigmentation on the nail matrix, and just look at the spaces of the bands, large and narrow spaces. So this is a sign for melanoma, and histopathology showed that this is a melanoma. Breast of thickness is 0.1 millimeters, still very early. And there were signs of some bacterial infection. Fungal cultures were negative, and bacterial culture showed Streptococcus agalactiaceae infection. So this is a patient, we can see more melanocytic and infectious findings together in this patient. And this is my last case, and it's very challenging. And the patient is a pediatric case and 2-year-old and left thumb that occurred 6 or 7 months ago. And this is a typical congenital nail matrix nevus, right? So we can follow up the case. And 3 months later, this is just in 3 months, there was some bleeding here, nail destruction, and the bands involve almost whole nail right now. So this was a very difficult case for me to take the decision of biopsy or not. And what would you do? Make a biopsy or follow up, continue follow up here?
Well,
tough decision, but I would say
this patient has a skin type 4, Emilios.
Skin type 4.
Yeah.
Okay, in darker skin types, it might be a little bit more challenging because there are a few data on not much, but on melanomas in children of dark skin type, especially.
Yeah.
So that might change a little bit the approach, because if not, if we're speaking about a Caucasian, then in 2 years I cannot think of melanoma. No way.
Yeah.
In the age of 2
so
years.
So this is 3 months later, baseline, and 3 months later.
Yeah, but congenital, if I may do it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I agree. But
I will go with congenital.
yeah, I also believe that this is a 99% congenital news. But since there
But
was
I will buy it.
bleeding and there was a very gross change, very rapid change in 3 months, and when you are the physician of the patient, it's a little bit risky, I think. And
No,
I asked this
agree.
question in the Facebook group.
I think it's congenital, but I would biopsy.
Yeah, and you see that there were lots of answers here, and everybody was very curious about the results. Some take that continue follow up, and some said that please take a biopsy here. And I did a biopsy here, and biopsy result was congenital nail matrix nevus. And so we also asked this case to Luke Thomas also. They also look at pathology slides in this case, and they also concluded that this is a nail matrix congenital nevus. And here is although the plastic surgeon said that he made a total nail matrixectomy, you see the recurrence, and now it's more difficult to follow up this patient. So in children, if we take a decision of biopsy, we should keep this threshold very, very low, because total nail matrixectomy can result with this appearance. And we should continue the follow-up lifelong in this case also. So no need to take a biopsy and continue to follow up in the pediatric cases. This is my recommendation also.
So you mean, Nisa, the threshold very, very high, not very, very low? So not
very, very, very high. Very high, not low. Sorry.
No, the point is that very nice cases. The point is that in the study of the IDS on congenital nevi that Luke was doing for many, many years, that's what we found. I mean, that some congenital nevi are terribly ugly, like the one you showed. And this is why it's important to collect this kind of evidence that you cannot collect in one center. And the conclusion was that congenital nevi, 2/3 of congenital nevi are extremely ugly, asymmetric. They grow fast. They expand to the periangual skin. They do anything you would like to see for a melanoma, but they are not melanomas. They are congenital nevi. So as you said, the threshold to biopsies should be very high, very, very, very high.
Yeah.
There are comments in the chat, very, very reasonable, that you destroyed our main rule, which was that age is the most important factor. But I personally, I keep this rule because of course I cannot know about this particular case that you presented, but in general, in all the large databases, including the one from Lyon, including large databases from US and UK, there were no melanoma cases in this age group. So I'm sure that a case like this could be diagnosed as a nevus by another pathologist. So it's I think that age is quite reassuring in general for nails. Wonderful. Great cases. I am now more nervous and insecure than I was. No, but keep in mind that Nisa now presented an extraordinary, very strange, very rare.
Yeah, they are very extraordinary cases.
Yeah. Definitely.
We're talking about the 0.01%. That's okay.
Yeah, and Emilios, I have really very lots of pediatric nail matrix news. I'm following up more than 50 cases right now. And the only case that I show who was 16-year-old was the melanoma case. And this is an exceptional case. But after puberty, maybe at the age of 18 or 16, change is very important when we compared the pediatric cases before puberty, maybe.
Yeah, sure. When the age becomes more advanced, then there are possibilities to change. There is a nice comment, which is very, very correct, that data on melanomas on the dark skin is limited. Definitely, that's true. Of course, there are some publications, but as compared to the white skin, the data we have on black skin are much scarce. So there might be information that we miss, it's sure. But we have to say that even in dark skin, the published cases of pediatric nail melanomas are very, 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 very few. Of course, there are some, but they are very, very few. Okay.
Interesting.
I didn't show this case to you, dark skin type case. Look at that, Emilios,
Yeah.
Jeppe, Konstantinos. Can you see that?
We're still viewing your PowerPoint.
Yes.
Yeah. For example, this is a pediatric case, and you see the coloration.
We don't see the new one.
You don't see?
The old.
Share your entire screen.
How about right now? Can you see it?
No,
you don't see. Okay.
Share your entire screen, not the PowerPoint. Share screen.
Yes, Seppi decided for us. Yeah, we have to move on. We have to move on.
Yeah, let's go.
Bravo, Seppi. You are our director. So, Kostas.
Of course he is. So, dermoscopy, as we have discussed before, it's not just an app. It's a game. It's a quiz. It's an amazing educational material. It's dermoscopy, where you can play different levels for training. Emilios, when is the next level coming up?
Very soon, very soon.
Wonderful. We'll have level 22 very soon. You can play live, where you can upload your cases and get feedback from colleagues from all around the world. And I will present, they're not nail cases, but I always try to keep an update on the cases that have been submitted over the past week. So this is from Italy, 52-year-old female on the lower limb, found during total body skin examination. This is the dermoscopy. And Sebi, let's see what the people believe. What's the diagnosis? Is the melanoma, a nevus, a BCC, SCC, soral and tigor seborrheic keratosis, vascular dermatofibroma, or other?
Let's see. Melanoma, great majority. Nevus is following.
Nevus following, and
Is
soral
this
and tigor.
reflecting what the users of dermoscopy did for this case?
And let's see.
Yes. Yes.
45-35. It does. And from your point of view, Debbie?
Yes, I think it could be easily a melanoma, a lentiginous melanoma, one of these slow-growing types. Yeah.
I agree. And Emilios, would you like to comment on the skin lines or the irregular blotches? Beautiful paper.
Yeah, there are irregular hyperpigmented areas. Yes, the skin. In this case, the skin. I think it's
dry.
Scales.
One or two.
There are scales on the furrows mainly. What we see here. But overall, I agree that's an ugly lesion. So fully agree.
Wonderful. So next case, 73-year-old male with recent chains. And this is the dermoscopy. Let's see what people believe.
It's the dark skin type patient, probably.
Yes, it is a dark skin patient with extreme photo downloads.
But is this not from New Zealand? Is it New Zealand patient? Probably it's just very, very much sun damaged.
Yeah, very photo downloads. You can see in the surrounding scene. And let's see what people believe.
Let's see.
Sebi.
I would have voted for melanoma. Yeah,
75%.
Nobody for a nevus, right? Yeah.
And okay, nevus 0. Actually, I found this very interesting also. For me, it's an obvious melanoma, but it represents what is here, 86% melanoma and 8% basal cell carcinoma.
No clues.
There are no clues for basal
clues.
cell, right? So we have shiny white lines, irregular pigmentation, irregular bloods. I think this is a melanoma by all means.
White lines.
Yeah, yeah.
And final case, which I
Nice.
included because it's so beautiful. On the buttocks or gentle, 38-year-old male, and this is the dermoscopy.
Oh,
Look at these vessels.
Yes, yes. Wonderful. Beautiful.
Incredible.
Beautiful.
This is like Pascal's images.
Yes. So let's see what people believe.
We should put word.
Other. There is other.
We have other.
Is-
Nisa, don't spoil.
No, that's definitely well, interesting. Some said nevus, and solar.
Some thought seborrheic
Seborrheic vascular lesion. No, but there is 60% saying other. So it means that, of course, everybody thought about the word.
Of course, everyone thought about the word, and this reflects
And you see,
result.
you see how democracy works exactly in the same way, in all the world. This is extremely fascinating. So you see the results, which are more or less the same today as those collected for in the app. So very nice.
I think it's phenomenal. And actually, you remember the paper from Philip Chandler in Nature Medicine regarding AI? So what they showed is that the collective thinking plus the AI was the most accurate for diagnosis. It's incredible. I wish we could do like live voting for every case we have in our clinic.
Yeah. Theoretically, that could be possible. With you Dermoscopy Live, it's something like this. I mean, you can have a quick.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Very good. Very, very nice cases. Very nice cases. Very
Happy.
nice. Yes. So I would like just to share with you just a few thoughts about another issue, which is the issue of the history. So basically, just a moment. What's going? Yeah, can you see me? Yes. The issue of the history, because you know that Heine invented the first dermatoscope, handheld dermatoscope, more than 30 years ago. And nowadays they moved a lot quickly in the future, and they are not only producing beautiful devices, but also they produce a kind of system allowing us to make a database online in the cloud of our images. Whatever you can use, whatever kind of handheld dermatoscope, whatever kind of smartphone, you just download the app. You just take the picture and then you upload the image in the cloud in their system, and this system is giving you the possibility to compare the side-by-side comparison of digital follow-up images and do many other things. So this is, in my view, in some way the future, right, guys? So a smartphone, an handheld device, and storage in the kind of cloud-based database, which is managing our images.
I told you that all my cases are from my phone.
Yes, exactly.
That's how I take my dermoscopy pictures.
Yeah, and that's very important for every practically clinician, because today everybody acquires a lot of images. The question is, where do you store these images and how you can use them? We are not in the era like 20 years ago when we were selectively taking a couple of images only of very extraordinary things. Now the images are many, so we need a fast and efficient way to store and also use them, send them, or retrieve them whenever we like, and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Very nice. Very good.
So
there are still comments coming. I hope that I was able to monitor everything. A lot of comments, Nisa, about your wonderful cases. I think that we didn't miss any question, hopefully. Okay, probably we didn't. So let's do it. Let's see some cases from the participants. I know we are going again late, but I don't want to postpone it again. Since we agreed, we accepted that the episode often will be more than 60 minutes. Dermoscopy happy hour and a half.
Now, like, honestly, there are 300 people watching us here, plus so many YouTubers. Yeah, we can go a little bit over.
Yeah, that 10 minutes, whatever. Okay. Say something, guys.
Oh, yes, of course. Penelope's gift. Related
Penelope.
schizoid-looking lesions. Yeah.
Okay.
Or a surprise.
Melanoma or a surprise.
Okay.
So start, guys, from the upper row. First lesion, benign or malignant, Spitz or melanoma? Spitz. Second,
Melanocytoma.
Melanoma.
melanocytoma.
Like
Okay. Third,
Combined knee.
Upper side. Upper or upper
combined.
third.
Combined. Okay. Fourth, come on.
Melanoma.
Okay. Lower row. First,
Spitz.
Melanoma.
Melanoma.
Spitz melanoma.
Melanoma.
Second,
Dermatofibroma.
Yeah.
dermatofibroma. Third,
Dermatofibroma.
dermatofibroma. Fourth,
Spitz.
Spitz.
Spitz. Okay. Well, challenging lesions, always these spitzoid ones. The results were Reed nevus the first one, Spitz nevus the second, Spitz nevus the third, melanoma the fourth, of course, melanoma the first of the lower row, Spitz the next two,
Dermatofibroma.
and dermatofibroma the last one. Wonderful dermatofibroma with white shiny
Great
lines and a
cases.
little bit of rainbow in the center and so on. Again, we have a special gift for Nisa. Because she said,
Penelope, I have complaints.
yes. I did
Pascal,
my
I love you.
complaints. I did my complaints last week and I got my gift. It's coming. Spitz nevus on the scalp of a 12-year-old boy. Of course, here it's extremely difficult to guess that this is a Spitz nevus from what we see. And a special gift for me, thank you, my dear, mainly because I complained.
Roma.
I know, mainly because I complained. No, this is a pilomatricoma, like
Pilomatricoma, of course.
like the one I showed last week, with white shiny lines, quite evident, white shiny lines, and also a little bit of rainbow, and then these red homogeneous areas that were present also in the case I showed you last week. Wonderful. Send us your case in this email address, and let's see quickly a few of the cases that you sent. I did a selection. Kezia, our dear Kezia, a case in a 44-year-old patient, phototype 1, present for many years, growing result, pathologic result, MELTAMB. Do you like these results when you get them? MELTAMB.
No.
You don't like them. Yeah, I know. I know. The problem is that the lesion was not the classic lesion that is usually diagnosed as a MELTAMB, because usually these are nodular lesions somehow. In this case, it's a flat lesion clinically, and this is what you get dermatoscopically. So I wouldn't expect the result of a MELTAMB, I have to say, in this,
neither.
in this lesion here. Yeah? What do you think?
Because this looks like a very superficial lesion, by the way.
But it's short.
MELTAMB is referred to a lesion which is thick.
Nodular, thick, yeah. So I wouldn't be happy with the diagnosis, but overall.
I'm sorry. Before we proceed, we have a question. What's MELTAMB? You're right.
Melanocytic tumor of unknown.
Tumor of unknown we're speaking at the same time. Of unknown malignant potential. So,
practically, it means that the pathologist is not sure if the lesion is benign or malignant. So that's the main message when we get this kind of diagnosis. And it's a very frequent diagnosis in the realm of schizoid lesions. So most MELTAMP display schizoid characteristics, and they are difficult to assess. But this one is a purely junctional lesion, in my view. So yeah.
Frame stain will help here. Frame stain, yeah.
I think that
because there are some pigmentation lacking skin creases, eccentric gray dots, and clinically ugly duckling, lonely duckling, highly suspicious lesion, especially with clinically. So maybe frame stain or another pathologist can see the slides.
The equivalent
second
of
opinion.
The equivalent of MELTAMP in lesions is SAMPUS or AIMP, atypical intraepithelial melanocytic proliferation, which in essence is, I don't know if it's aneurysm or melanoma, take 5 millimeter margins, you're done.
Overall, I think that it's an early melanoma, in my view.
I agree.
That's my impression. A nice case from Michael Christopher, who, by the way, has a very active account on Instagram, posting a lot of wonderful cases every day, practically. Beautiful cases. He sent us a case of a very interesting, unique, I would say, image of a melanoma not in situ, 0.4 Breslow, and there are several photographs with different modes. And here you can see, I mean, come on, practically, I think that I see a lendigo at the periphery and the central part, which I could not think of a melanoma here, guys. I don't know about you.
No.
I would never think of a melanoma. Maybe the vessels are compressed, so there could be neovascularization.
Yeah. But here we see some white clods, maybe, and nothing more. Impressive case, I would say, from Michael. By the way, it was 0.4, and in fact, there was a lentiginous also background, lentiginous pattern at the periphery, obviously. Thank you, Michael. Philip Grigorian, 36-year-old woman with asymptomatic hyperpigmented macules and papules on the back, present for 10 years. First clinical impression, acne comedonica. However, vellus hair can be seen dermoscopic. For me, only trichostasis spinulosa comes into question. And here is what you get. You see the comedos are visible already clinically, but as he commented, in fact, there is these alterations of the hair shafts. You see them, eh?
Beautiful case.
I don't know. I don't have any other suggestion that the one suggested. I don't know if you do.
There are some broken hairs, maybe folliculotropic mycosis fungoides also came into my mind, and some thinning hairs.
But in MF, you expect to see the hair follicle destroyed, right? So you expect to see a loss of the hairs. Here, I think that the vast majority still maintains its hair. I would think a benign situation, like the one suggested, is very good.
And there are also anomalies of the hair shaft itself. So the hair shaft is problematic. So trichostasis spinulosa is a very reasonable thought, in my view. Then Milos Nisavic and Irena Komljenovic and Alexandra Bukvic send us two cases. The first, a 55-year-old female with a previous history of 4 BCCs, report carcinoma planocellulare. I don't know what is planocellulare. I guess it's squamous cell carcinoma. That's my understanding of the term, which, by the way, fits with what we see clinically and dermatoscopically. So, Bowen type SCC makes sense, absolutely. And this is another photograph of the same lesion. And then the other interesting one was her 23 years old daughter with a pigmented lesion. To make this long story short, nevus pigmentosus compound type dysplastic high grade, and this is what you see clinically. And this is dermoscopy. Any comments, guys? Are you happy with this pathologic diagnosis?
No, this is
No,
a
no.
melanoma,
This is
clear-cut melanoma.
And that's the problem when this term, dysplastic nevus, is overused by pathologists. That's precisely the problem. Yeah.
By the way, Emilios, I think that we should do an episode with the cases, especially recently, that we get asked dysplastic nevus and we were so certain that they were melanoma.
Yeah, absolutely. I see some new comments and questions coming, but I cannot monitor them now. I will check in a moment. That's another photograph of the same lesion. And Giovanni Gigliotti, a case of melanonychia striata. Very interesting one. Look at it, 21. You see the melanonychia, and you also see this pigmentation, which is visible. It's visible.
Amazing.
On the nail matrix. Yeah, amazing. Really,
Amazing.
Really amazing. Yeah. By the way, the question is what to do. I don't know. Well, I don't think that I would do anything other than follow up here. In any case, in this case, a biopsy was performed and the result was melanocytic hyperplasia. Wonderful, unique case. Thank you very much. So that's it for today. More cases next week because there are many. We cannot show everything together, but we will try to show as many as we can. And now I think it's probably time for Kahoot. First, let me check these comments that came. Well, there is a very long comment, unfortunately.
It's a poem.
What?
I think it's another poem.
It's a poem. It's a poem. Oh my God. Wonderful. So give us the chance to read it with, and we will come back. I just copy and paste it so that I will not miss it. And there was a comment above. Do you want to read it, guys?
Yes. No, actually.
It's still a poem. It's still a poem. Okay, good. It's still a poem. Fantastic. Okay, so Kahoot time, I would say.
Excellent.
Kahoot, but we lost Jeppy. I don't like it. Jeppy, come back.
He texted. He needs to get a flight again, but he stayed until.
Really? I didn't see it.
He sent a text message. He had to leave.
No.
For a flight.
No.
Yeah.
No.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart as well.
You see, Jeppy left, and I did a mistake in screen sharing. Okay, there we go. Wonderful. So, smartphones on the hand. You can either just with your camera take a photograph of the QR code that will appear in a second. Here it is, the QR, or you can go with a browser to www.kahoot.it and insert this pin 987.
Emilius, we don't see the screen.
You don't see my screen?
We see your screen, but it's still at the early stage. You have to click start.
No, but the game bin should be visible. It's not visible?
No, it's not visible.
Okay, let me stop share. Stop share. I share again. Is it visible now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, then. So we are waiting for the players to arrive. As usually, don't worry if you get a message that the connection is not working. It will work as soon as we start the Kahoot. We are sure now because it happened 3 times. So it will happen today for sure. In the meanwhile, there is a question how to follow up patients with dysplastic nevus from cases, as you said, it can be a melanoma. Okay, so the follow-up of patients with multiple ugly nevi should be done, of course, especially after a certain age. Let's say the time interval, if there is no specific reason like melanoma history or familial melanoma history, then once per year is absolutely fine, in my view, for regular follow-up.
Once per year plus self-examination at 6 months.
Wonderful. Okay. Connection lost. Please do not refresh. Thank you very much, my dear Kahoot, for this nice message that you sent me.
It's going so smoothly.
It's going so smoothly.
I think we have the same problem.
No, but this is the first time that this problem appears. And it has to be solved. It has to be solved because we have wonderful cases in the Kahoot of today. So come on. Reconnecting, but it's not connecting. Come on. The problem is that I cannot start the Kahoot in this way. Yeah. So what should I do? Okay, I close it. I start it again.
Close and restart.
Start again. Come on. That's the only thing I can do. I apologize for this, but come on.
I'm sorry, Milius. So
do you see the screen?
No. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
To everyone writing that they cannot connect and there's a connection problem, don't worry about that. We have had that all the previous times. Once the game starts, you'll get immediately connected.
Yes, at least we hope so. So don't refresh, don't do anything. Just stay there, and once we start, you will be immediately connected. We hope so. So let's wait. 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and let's go.
Yes.
Yes.
So, my friends, 3, 2, 1, boom.
Go.
First case, 4 photographs of huge lesions, more than 1 millimeter, but less than 2.
Less than 3.
Yeah, between 1 and 2 millimeter. And this is dermoscopy of these 4 lesions, okay, of these 4 monsters. And now comes the first question, which is, which one of these 4 is not a basal cell carcinoma? 1, 2, 3, or 4? And okay, the answers again are many, which means that it worked and the people were connected. We have more than 130 answers, so it worked. And let's see. By the way, that's a difficult question, I have to say.
It is a very difficult question. I would go for 1. Oh, okay.
Oh
1.
my God.
Correct.
1 was not a basal cell carcinoma. But you know what it was?
Okay.
No, it was a blue nevus, my God.
Ah.
Yeah. Wonderful. So MN is leading for the moment. And this brings us to question number 2. This is the clinical image. This is dermoscopy.
Okay.
Okay. And we go now to the question, which is diagnosis. The options are nevus, melanoma, basal cell carcinoma, and dermatofibroma. And now, Nisa, can you predict the number of correct answers?
20%.
No, say absolute number.
The correct.
Come on. You should be faster.
Okay. I thought that it's 20% is correct.
26. Yeah, it's approximately 20%. I would say 25% maybe. No, less, because there were more than 130. So dermatofibroma, that was pigmented, quite tricky dermatofibroma, which brings Seb K to the first place and Pavlos to the second place. Wonderful. Let's go to number 3. This one, there are no points. Which of the following wines is not sparkling? Prosecco, sherry, cava, or champagne? Do you know the answer, guys?
Cava.
No, Nisa. No, Nisa.
Yes,
Prosecco.
bravo. Sherry is
Sherry.
a fortified wine. All the other wines are, of course, sparkling. Cava is the most famous sparkling wine from Spain, Prosecco from Italy, and Champagne, of course, from France. Wonderful. No points for this question. So we move on to the question number 3, practically, which is very nice and interesting in my view. Look at this annular lesion with the elevated border. This is dermoscopy.
Okay.
And here you get your
Now I think 80% got it.
Really? Wow. So, basal cell carcinoma, porokeratosis, lichen planus, like keratosis. No, 80%, no way, in my view.
8, no way.
Let's see. I trust the members. Go, go,
50
go.
50 people.
Lichen planus, like keratosis. Oh my God, that was a tough one. That was a tough one.
It was super hard.
Super hard. There were, of course, a few melanophages, but it was really tough. Elena is leading with 2.
That's nice.
Now, the next one is a puzzle. So please order by prognosis from worst to best. So first you have to order the worst prognosis and then continue until the one with the best prognosis. And for this question, since you need to do with your smartphone all this classification, for this reason we have a lot of time. We have 1 minute practically.
And you need to rate them by 5-year relative survival.
Well, the worst prognosis. Yeah. The worst prognosis.
Depends on preço, Emilios, for melanoma.
Overall.
So
Also
things
for medical,
worse.
it depends. For everything, it depends on the stage of diagnosis. But overall, according to the data, there is a clear difference among these 4 tumors. And so there we go. So let's see. The correct answer is dermal sarcoma has the worst prognosis, followed by Merkel, followed by melanoma, and by atypical fibroxanthoma. In fact, here we see the points. In fact, dermal sarcoma has a 5-year survival rate of 40%, Merkel cell overall 63%, melanoma overall 93%, and atypical fibroxanthoma, of course, 100%. There is no metastatic potential for this tumor. Very good. Next, no points again. Who said this? Entities should not be multiplied unnecessarily. Sylvester Stallone,
Jeppy.
William of Ockham, David Beckham, or Jeppy. Entities should not be multiplied unnecessarily. And of course, the answer is William of Ockham. This is the so-called Occam's razor. By the way, this is interesting for dermatology and also for science in general, because if you see here the new WHO classification of skin tumors, this is precisely the opposite. This is an unnecessary multiplication of entities. So according to this classification, we have 9 types of melanoma, and each one of these 9 types includes 5 or 6 or 7 subtypes. We will speak about it in one of the episodes. So
For sure, we
maybe
need
our
to.
friends
We need-
pathologists should read a little bit William of Ockham. It would be of help. And finally, last one is again a case in which you have to type your diagnosis. This is the image, and there we go. So type your answer. You have to type the precise word, and you have 20 more seconds. Feasible, you think?
I think it's plausible, difficult, but plausible.
I also think so. I hope so. Let's see. Okay, so these are the answers typed by the people. And the correct answer is porokeratosis. We have 32 people that found the correct answer. And now we go to the podium for today. Place number 3, Carolina. Place number 2, Seb KK. And number 1, it's Elena. Elena, congratulations, Elena. But Elena is such a frequent name.
Bravo.
So how can we know who is Elena? It's difficult. Yeah.
Elena, please join us.
If we can find Elena, that would be wonderful. In the meanwhile,
And who is Sepke?
Who knows?
Oh, it's Kezia. Come on.
Oh my God.
Are you Sepke? Kezia or?
Probably.
No.
Probably.
Kezia is
Yeah.
okay.
You should
Okay,
be Hutchinson.
Elena?
If we don't find Elena, in the meanwhile, thank you very much, guys. Konstantinos, Nisa, it was wonderful once again. And thank you very much to all of you. More than 300 people again tonight from all over the world that spent this 1.5 hours with us. What else do we have to say, guys?
I think it was amazing. Need to think of, actually, if you don't mind, type some ideas of what you would like us to cover. Like, what would you like us to talk about?
Yeah. Feel free to do it. You can do it also via email. We will read the poem read. I promise that we will read the poem, but we will check it first. Wonderful. So thank you so much. On YouTube, you can find all the episodes of what's recorded.
Elena is here, Emilios. He
Where is
said that
Elena?
I'm here.
Elena Lydia Avram.
If Elena is here, then we can say congratulations and then good night all together. If not, yes,
She
Elena.
comes.
Elena.
Elena, if you
Elena,
like to...
do you hear us? Do you see us? Would you like to open your microphone, your camera, something? In any case, congratulations. You did a great job in a very difficult Kahoot. It was a difficult Kahoot today, I have to say. Yeah, wasn't it? Yeah.
I would have missed some of those.
Wonderful. We already have some suggestions in the chat about possible topics, but we can you can also send in the email of the Dermoscopy Happy Hour additional suggestions. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much, guys. Have a nice week. See you next Sunday. Sebastiano Grande.
You are the best.
Well, says the best of the best. Have a wonderful week, guys. Cheers.